Hey everybody, I am home. I know, I'm so excited. I love being home. It's been way too long. I've been in the south of Italy for 2 weeks. It was supposed to be 1 week and then it turned into two. Hence oh my God, look at this. Just look at this. Look. Oh my God. Look. See, I prepared for 1 week and I had no hair products. There's no hairdressers for me in the south of Italy. I mean, not even in the north, but much less the south. So, yeah, I usually do my hair on Fridays, and we were supposed to come back on Thursday. And I thought, perfect. And then I find out that we had an important appointment that normally I would have had to go back to South Italy for. Anyways, long story short, we ended up having to stay there for another week because we had to sign papers on Wednesdays. So we ended up leaving on Thursday. So anyway, this is going to be a lot of work for me. I don't even know if I'm going to get around to it today because honestly, I have so much to do with luggage and, unpacking and laundry, groceries. I still have to cook. Yeah, I'm just going to take it easy because it's crazy, when you come back from a long stay, especially longer than anticipated stay. There's too much to do. So I'm going to take it easy. I'm going to drink my coffee. I'm going to have a chat with you, and then I'll see what I get done, and that will be fine. Coffee in your own house tastes so good. I know I brought my own coffee, but I don't know. It's in my house, in my cup. It's a whole other taste. Anyway, sorry. So I did get some inspiration having been in the south of Italy for 2 whole weeks. And when I was thinking of what I was going to talk about to you today, I kind of thought I would talk about the food because my last video was about keto, but I didn't really go much into keto in Italy. I grew up in Canada, in Montreal, but Italy is very different, and South Italy is a whole other thing. It's a whole other monster. It's almost another country compared to the north of Italy. As you know, I've been living here for about 19 years, nearly 20 years. And I spent about 7 years in the south, and then we moved to the north. So most of it has been in the north at this point. We were gluten-free for a long time while we were in the south. And I just have to tell you, if you don't know, Italy loves pasta. I don't think that's a surprise. But anyway, at the time, living in South Italy, going gluten-free, it was a problem. It was a problem because you still had to go out with friends. You had to have your, family dinners and family Sunday lunches and so forth. So there was no escaping it. And then I remember my mother-in-law being like, what are you going to eat? And I'm like, everything else. It's okay. It's not that complicated. But it was a big problem, right? It was a huge problem for most people. Anyways, they got used to it, and eventually, it turned. And then, and at the time, there weren't any gluten-free products in the grocery stores at all. There was nothing. It wasn't a thing at the time when we were talking gluten-free in 2009 in South Italy. Nobody knew what it was. I didn't even know what it was. It was unheard of. So when we went gluten-free, it was this whole new thing. Anyway, so no products. There wasn't any gluten-free pasta at all. And I remember when the first gluten-free pasta came out, and it was this horrible, fall apart thing. It would just, the spaghetti would just crumble in the pot in your plate if it didn't crumble in the pot. And then it was a whole process to cook it. You had to turn the stove on, turn off the stove, put the cover on, I can't even remember. It was a whole process with minutes. Do this, then anyway. And the pasta was not that great. It was very grainy. It was corn pasta, not that good. Anyways, At this point, living in the north, it's a little easier on me in that sense because we don't have family, we don't have that many friends in the north as we do in the south, and things are also quite different here as far as how people eat and all that. It's a little bit more similar maybe to living in Montreal. So I'll run you through some basics of what I do being on keto in Italy. All things considered, outings, restaurants, grocery shopping, and going south. So breakfast. Breakfast for me, obviously, is eggs and bacon. And I do that when I'm home on my own. I'll have eggs and bacon. For my family, I might make some buckwheat pancakes sometimes, some fruit, but they often have eggs and bacon as well. Or maybe they'll have my daughter will have eggs and maybe a piece of fruit. But for myself, I'll do eggs and bacon if I have breakfast, because I often just have a cup of coffee and go. I'm talking like I did that this morning. No, I had full eggs and bacon this morning because I was so happy to be home. I took it easy and I went slow. Anyway, so eggs and bacon for me, I might even eat dinner from the day before or two. That it doesn't bother me if I'm really hungry and there's something that appeals to me. But usually I'm not eating, or I'm gonna have an egg or go crazy like this morning. Whole pack of bacon, 2 eggs. So that'll be my breakfast. When I was in the south of Italy, I was still doing my eggs and sometimes bacon. But what's hard about not being in your house and being keto in Italy? It's embarrassing. Because everyone's like, oh my God, how do you eat that in the morning? And I'm like, well, yeah, it's normal for me. But then the other thing that gets embarrassing, not just breakfast, but all my meals when I'm in the south, is the amount, my quantities. I eat a lot. And being in my mother-in-law's house and she's cooking, I'm looking at it that's half, she's cooking for everybody. And maybe she'll do the vegetables and I'm looking at it and I'm like, that's half the amount of vegetables I eat by myself. And that's for 4 people. So yeah, so it gets kind of, complicated because I'm like, it's okay, I'll cook for myself, right? And then I feel embarrassed because I have an entire family portion of vegetables or an entire family portion of meat or whatever it is I'm eating, because everybody else might have bread, or they might have the pasta first and all of that, right? And then they'll have the fruit and then they'll have dessert. So I'm only eating the vegetable, or I'm only eating the meat, or maybe a mix, but that's it for me, right? So I often feel a little embarrassed when I'm cooking my food in the south. So I tend to eat less, or I tend to want snacks, or I tend to get hungry through my day, which throws me off keto when I'm in the south. So this time around, I just cooked. I just cooked my big quantities. I ate it. I tried to be unapologetic. I tried to be unapologetic about it and just do what I do. Yeah. Nobody said anything. It's probably all in my head, but So great things about keto in Italy is that you have all the seafood and all the vegetables that you want. Okay. And, fresh, local, all of that. And it's not that expensive. I know that a lot of Italians will complain about, grocery prices and, fine. I'm gonna be honest though, I notice a big difference living in the south, living in Italy, south, north, whatever, and going to Canada, eating the amount of vegetables I eat and buying the amount of vegetables I'll buy. I can do it here for €100 a week for my whole family. No problem. And I mean eating all the meals we want, plus me, with my quantities. I went to Canada and in groceries, €100 is $150. So I would consider that $150 is not a week of groceries in Canada. And I'm talking Monday to Monday. That's not a week of groceries, of vegetables that I'm eating. It might be a week of groceries, actually. I think it would take a little bit more, considering the crazy prices that are in Canada for certain things. Like bacon, oh my gosh. I'm spending €2 for a pack of bacon here. sometimes 3, depending on the brand and where. But in Canada, it was like 5, 6. No, not 5. I'm sorry. It used to be. It was like $7, $8 for a pack of bacon. Plus, I know I get all messed up now. I used to be used to it, but plus the tax, right? Anyways, so much more expensive for a pack of bacon. I'm not sitting down and eating a $7 pack of bacon by myself for breakfast. I'll do it here. The pack is a little bit smaller, granted. Okay, fine. But you know what I'm saying. Like comparing like what I'm doing there and what I can do here, definitely my prices are much cheaper here. Groceries are easier for me here. I can buy, like 3, 4 bags of just vegetable here easily and come up to like 50 euros fine, like easily. If you buy bags and bags of vegetables in Canada, in Montreal, yeah, that's expensive. It gets crazy. You have to like buy some there and some here and some there and buy that one, like there's a sale over here and I don't know, the peppers are cheaper at that place. You have to run around to try and bring your price down on your vegetables, which is crazy to me. But anyway, so that's a huge plus. Plus I find a bigger variety generally everywhere. So you can find more variety anywhere you go. And there's more, I find more interest in vegetables. Just, you find things that you wouldn't necessarily find, at least in the Canadian grocery stores. Obviously, I'm speaking from my own experience. You might live in some place that's amazing and has all the vegetables super cheap. I don't know. You let me know where you live. If you have super cheap vegetables and large variety and fresh and all of that where you live, let me know. I'm coming. The other thing about living in Italy with keto, being keto in Italy, something that not a lot of people realize that there are so many traditional dishes here, and they're not just pizza and pasta, right? So most vegetables that do grow here have some dish or more than one traditional dish. So any vegetables I pick, I can easily find either something I already know or something I don't know. I can easily find some traditional recipe that's amazing. And so that's one thing I love, that vegetables are never bland, never boring, because you find like your favorite way to cook that vegetable. So like I'm not into just like, not usually, not often at all, just like boiling a vegetable and eating it. I don't do that. Like I'm gonna cook a dish with that vegetable, right? So I'll do the grocery store. I'll see what looks good. I'll see what looks fresh. I'll see what like pulls me, like what I feel like eating, and I'm cooking my favorite dish with that. One of my favorite places to eat in Italy is the north, actually. I prefer the north to the south because the north does have a lot of like really amazing vegetable dishes. I find like really hearty, like not just soups, but like minestra, they call them, like different types of stew type cooked, I guess, vegetables. I love this kale, it's kale soup, I guess you might call it kale. Is it kale? Yeah, kale soup with white cannellini beans. Anyways, it's a mix. It's a stew that they do in Tuscany. It's one of my favorite dishes. I do it pretty often. It's keto friendly. Everybody loves it. My whole family loves it. People who come to stay here or people who, come for dinner, whatever, they'll always like it too. So that's one of my go-tos for like when people are coming, because it's got everything in it and everybody loves it. I might do, I don't know. We'll see. You let me know. Eventually I might do some sort of recipe and see how that, how people like it. I don't know. We'll see if I do recipes eventually. But mostly my own experience with cooking hasn't been recipes. I don't do recipes. I don't do like measuring. I have no patience for that. I did come to Italy with like a basic knowledge of cooking, you might say. Like there were certain things I could cook. But I learned a lot from my mother-in-law that gave me a base in cooking that was, how would I put it? almost it renders recipes unnecessary. So like I could look at a vegetable and kind of already know, even if I've never cooked it before. I can look at a vegetable, or I can look at what I have in my fridge and kind of already know what goes with what, how, she gave me like a foundation of for cooking. So I might share some of that. I'd have to like analyze it more because I don't really think about it. I'm not, I don't write things down. I don't know. It's hard for me to, yeah. So I might share cooking at some point on this channel, or maybe in shorts. I don't know, but at a future date. If you're keto coming to Italy, you might have a hard time. So for a couple of reasons, especially if you do meat. Meat is not it in Italy. Okay, yes, the food is very good in Italy, but meat is not. Okay, I'm gonna say, as a Canadian, and any American will eat meat here and be like, what are they doing? I mean, I'm talking how people cook at home and most restaurants. There are going to be certain areas that have a specialty in meat, and that might be good. But generally speaking, like the way pasta, like everybody here knows how to make a dish of pasta and it's amazing. Everybody knows how to cook that, right? Meat is not one of the things that it's surprising to me. It was surprising to me because you think Italy, good food, but meat is something that they don't know how to cook meat. And so actually the first years I was here, I was like, I'm not eating meat anymore. I just didn't eat it. I was not interested. So when there was a meat thing, I'd be like, no, it's okay. I'll just have the vegetables. I'll do the seafood. I'll do maybe some pork dishes or a sausage. I might do, I'll do everything else, but I'm not doing the meat. It's not good. It's, it's not their specialty. So if you're doing carnivore, you'll have to kind of know your cuts, know what you're doing, know how to cook it, because otherwise, if you're going to a restaurant and you're going to order a steak, it's usually not good, and it's often I'm sorry, yeah, I'm losing my English sometimes. What's the word? If you go to a restaurant, good luck if you order meat. Okay, it could go good on, like 1 out of 10, but 1 out of 10 times. But 9 out of 10 times, if you order a steak or like a filet or something, no, very rarely good. But on the other hand, if you're doing seafood, always good. I mean, not always. I mean, nothing is always good, but they do seafood really good. So I had, if you go to a restaurant that specializes in seafood, always amazing. So I could sit and eat all day long. You can eat as much as you want. If you're keto, you're good with a seafood restaurant. Obviously, Italy being a touristic country, depending on where you go, if it's one of the bigger cities, like Milan or Rome or, I don't know, Venice. I don't think I've eaten in Venice, have I? Maybe. I don't know. Anyways, it doesn't matter. So more touristic places, you got to watch out for like the tourist trap restaurants. Not good. Not it. Not the Italian food we're talking about at all. I mean, at all. But if you're in any other outside the city areas, or in like, some of the smaller roads, like get off the main road, don't eat on like sidewalk cafe places, don't do that. Get into the like, get lost. Go into like the more hidden areas, go into the outskirts of the city, do a good search, ask the people at the hotel, where do the locals eat, because it's not there. But you can usually find some really good seafood restaurants, depending on what city you're in, or just some good restaurants, that have nice vegetable dishes, entrees, and different things. One thing that doesn't work for me in Italy, the cheese. Okay, so there's so much good cheese, and I do enjoy it way too much. I was in the south of Italy, and where we're from, It's close to Naples, and they're really famous in the area for mozzarella. I'm not gonna get started on mozzarella because I'm gonna say mozzarella now. It comes out weird, but I'm gonna say mozzarella for you. Okay, so mozzarella, it's so weird. It's not that block that you buy in the grocery store and put in the fridge. They might sell it like that for like making pizza, for cooking. And I don't even know if it's the same thing. But anyway, when you're here and you say mozzarella, we're not talking about the same cheese at all. So you're talking about, I'll show you a picture. So mozzarella is a fresh made cheese, and you eat it like the same day, the day after, maybe the day after that. But after that, it's used for cooking. And I'm speaking from where my husband's from, where it's produced a lot, and it's made from buffalo, not from cow, right? It's so good. I'm like addicted to it. And the last time I was in the South, so the last time or this time, or I think it was maybe 2 times before, I can't remember. Anyways, the last time before this time that I was in the south of Italy, I was so happy because cheese is keto friendly, right? Oh my God, no, not really. It's not. I definitely felt, the sleepy, the slow feeling and, like in my head. And then I felt, a little too bloated. I was like, okay, it's not. So this trip around, I left the mozzarella alone. I was so sad because when I go there, I want to eat it there. I don't eat it anywhere else. That's the other thing about Italy is eat the thing where it's from. Don't eat it outside of the city where it's from. So if something is made from, if there's like a traditional dish from Milan, eat it in Milan. Don't eat the traditional dish outside of Milan. It's not going to be the same. Some people are surprised by that. Sometimes people are like, but it's the same country. No, it's not the same thing. Don't do it. It's not the same thing. It's like eating a poutine outside of Montreal. Don't do it. You can't eat. You're in Quebec. You eat poutine, but if you go somewhere else, don't eat it. I'm sorry. I'm gonna try not be offended. Italians do get food offended very often. So it's the funniest thing. Oh my God! It's like a religion. It is. I know. Yeah, it is religion. There's so many rules. And yeah, and being here for so long, like I get them, but I don't. I mean, it almost feels like there's no real logic behind them. Like you don't order cappuccino like while you're eating dinner. What are you doing? Like you do that, you look real silly. Like it just looks silly. It's like asking for a scoop of ice cream. Could you put it's the same. It's like if you were in a restaurant in America or in Canada, wherever you are, and you ask them for a scoop of ice cream to like put on top of your, I don't know, like your spaghetti sauce, like your spaghetti, that's as crazy as that looks to them. They're like, what is that person doing? Like, take a picture. Like, it's crazy, okay? And so I get it. I understand it because when I see something like that, I'm like, oh, what is that person doing? It looks so crazy. But then on the other hand, like coming from that, like I've been here for 20 years, but coming from there, I'm like, but why? And I really can't give you an answer. I don't know why. You're not supposed to mix milk. Okay. Milk is breakfast food. And you're not supposed to mix it with like your dinner and your meat and I don't know. I know there's a verse in the Bible about not cooking like the meat in its own milk, but I don't know if is that where it comes from? I don't know. You're not supposed to do it. Walking around with coffee in your hands, you're not supposed to do that either. There's so many like, you could now, like things are turning a little bit more, they're getting Americanized. They're more Americanized now. But I feel very weird walking around with a cup of coffee in my hand. I've done it, but I feel weird. I still feel weird. Yeah, anyways, I'm going into a whole other subject, but Italy, food, big deal, huge. And so being keto here can feel a little bit like you're an outcast. So going out with friends can be hard. Being in a restaurant, everybody else is pretty much eating the same thing. Primo, secondo, first plate, second plate. Well, first course, sorry. I know they say piatto, but first course, second course, fruit, coffee, dessert, coffee, liquor, or like a little shot, or something, a digestivo. And so, yeah, going out with friends can be hard when you're like, nope, not drinking, nope, not, not eating the primo. You just have your one little plate and water, and everybody else is going through all the courses. And I'm like, it's fine, it's good, I can do it. Things are changing a little bit. People are starting to eat a little bit more, a little bit less, I guess. Not so much first course, second course. Like friends going out might turn into more of a casual thing. Whereas first course, second course, it was normal. It's quite more normal in the south of Italy in families and stuff, but it's, I think, starting to kind of die down a little bit. People are it's turning into more of a formal thing, I think, like the reserved more for big meals, big family meals at Christmas, or I don't know, big get-togethers. No, definitely not everywhere. So big families are still doing that. They're definitely still doing the first, the second meal, and this and the fruit and the cheese. Yeah, it's all of it. Nice restaurants in the south, all of it. So yeah, if you're out with a big group of friends and you all go to a nice restaurant, all of it. We're doing all of it. And it's really nice. And I think that, like the whole social thing around eating is a beautiful thing. Like you really enjoy not just your food, but the people, And so, I don't know, it can feel a little bit ostracizing to sit on the outside of the partaking in the food thing. But it's okay. I'm doing it because, I can't function otherwise. So it's fine for me. But that can be one hard thing of being keto in Italy. I think I started that talking about cheese, right? Anyways, I don't do cheese anymore. So I'll have a little piece once in a while here and there of something, especially if I want to try it. I don't do mozzarella because I like it too much. So if I have one, I'm going to have 10. So I just didn't bother buying it at all. I just left it alone. But yeah, this trip hasn't been too bad. My mother-in-law, like kind of, like she's cool. She's good with it. She'll like maybe buy something she knows I like or knows that I can eat, or offer some suggestions like, oh, can you eat this? Can you eat that? And then I'll be like, oh yeah, thanks, and then like I'll cook it, but I'm cooking my food. And so she's been pretty good with that. I'm glad, like I'm super lucky. My mother-in-law is very open in that sense. Super old fashioned, old school all the way, and like South Italian mother-in-law, South Italian, but she's always been very accepting and very open. And she's kind of that type of person, very quiet and like, I don't mind. She like says it to me too. Like she'll talk about if some other person comes up, she'll be like, I mind my own business. I'm not even gonna like she doesn't bother telling other people her opinions about everything, Like she might tell me something in confidence, but she's like, none of my business. So she's great like that. And she's definitely made it easier on me because I know that there would be other mother-in-laws that would not accept the situation. They might be like, you must eat what I cook. I don't know. Anyway, that's my own experience. So it's a hard time, but it could be harder, right? Like my husband always says, non c'è mai fine al peggio. There's no end to worse. So yeah, it's true. It's fine. It's fine. So I'm happy to be home. I'm super happy to be back in my space. I'm going to be getting myself back together over the next few days. It's going to take a while to like get back into my own routine because yeah, this for one, like when I leave this for how long? 2 weeks? So yeah, like I skipped a wash. So skipping a wash for me, that's a disaster. It's going to take a whole day to like get things back in order, which is why I don't skip my washing day because it's a disaster when I do. I still have to do, manicure, pedicure. I need to shave. I need to, all of this stuff, yeah, I don't do that when I'm in the South. Not yet anyways. Anyway, the South is just, they have these okay, confession. I get extremely panicky in the tiny shower. I can't do it. So I do, and I can't sit in a bathtub. I've never been able to do that. I don't know how people do that. It's not relaxing at all. It panics me. So anyways, I'm a little bit, yeah, I have my issues. But so when I'm in the South, like I'll stand in the bathtub because it's not closed up, and I'll do my like super fast wash up. That's all I do. There's no spending time. That was my confession. I feel very exposed right now. But anyways, so I'll try not to take up any more of your time. So yeah, so the South is over. I'm so happy to be back. And I will be back on here on Tuesday with my next video. I don't know what that's going to be about yet, but hopefully a little bit more planned out. I kind of just sat here and had my chat with you because, yeah, there was no time for, planning out my conversation. Sorry. Anyways, so I hope you have a great weekend. I am going to, I guess, have an okay weekend. Yeah, I feel overwhelmed, but that's okay. So you might have noticed I feel overwhelmed, but it's okay. I'm going to try to take it easy, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great one. Bye-bye.